But then when I got the second request to build one, I thought maybe there's an opportunity here that I'm missing. So this is my log bucking table. I don't use it for bucking logs anymore now that we got the Eastamade Evo firewood processor, but what I do use it for is for slabs off of the sawmill. It's really nice to just pull them right off the sawmill, set them on here, cut them up when the deck gets full, put them in an IBC tote. Makes the whole process seamless to be able to use the waste that comes off of the sawmill. I actually have gotten a couple of emails about people who wanted me to build them some of these. When I got the first request, I just thought, oh, I'll build that off camera and send the customer along his merry way with his new firewood bucking table. But then when I got the second request, I thought, maybe there's an opportunity here that I am missing. If I've gotten 2 requests from people, there might be more people out there that want something like this. Now, you could very easily build this yourself, but if you don't have the time or don't have the know-how, this is something that if you want to get a hold of me, contact information down in the description, hometownacres@outlook.com. This is definitely something within my wheelhouse that I can mill the lumber and build for you and send you on your way. But the main benefits of a log bucking table like this is you can set multiple logs on the deck, cut them up off the ground without having to bend over with a chainsaw. And when you go to transfer your freshly cut blocks to your splitter, it's right here. So you just hoist it up onto your hips, take it over to your splitter, and there's literally no bending over in this process. The only downside is if you want something like this, you will need a machine to load the logs onto the table. So anyway, with all that said, we're gonna go ahead and grab some logs, get them on the sawmill, mill up all of the material for this, and then we're gonna go ahead and start making 2 more of these log bucking tables. got 18 beautiful looking 4x4s ready to go up to the shop and start building. And just to drive the point home how handy this thing is to have, not only is it good for bucking up firewood logs, but it is the perfect accompaniment to go with a sawmill. All your slabs go right on there. They're up in the air, ready to buck up and put into the IBC tote. All right, so we've got all of our material moved up here to the shop. It is an absolutely beautiful day to have both garage doors open, bring the material in here and build it here in the garage in the shade. It's like 70 degrees out today. Nice cool breeze. Luckily, I've already built one of these, so I already have a cut list of everything that I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all of our material cut down to size. To do that, I'm going to be using our 16 5/16 skill saw, massive circular saw that is perfect for doing jobs like this where you're cutting 4x4s or 6x6s, where if you were using a regular circular saw, you'd be having to make a cut this way, roll it, make another cut. This does it all in one cut. So we're gonna get everything cut down to size and then we'll start building. All right, after a little bit of cutting, we've got enough for our front legs, front beam, back beam for both tables. So let's go ahead and start getting that stuff put together. Okay, hopefully now you can start to kind of see the skeleton of these log bucking tables and how they're all going to come together. The next step is going to be adding in a 10-inch lag screw down through the top beam down into the leg. Now that's not going to provide much support in the way of tipping out or anything like that, so we are going to add some diagonal bracing, but for right now that's just going to draw that leg in until we can get everything kind of sturdied up with some diagonal bracing. And we are going to countersink these holes, so these heads are not going to sit proud of the beam. They're actually going to sit down into the beam. That way you don't have a chance of hitting it with your chainsaw. Now we need to kind of figure out how deep we need to drill this hole. I need to put a piece of tape on here right about there. Should be about perfect. All right, so now we have our legs attached to our beams. We're gonna go ahead and get the front and the back squared up to each other. Same with these ones over here. Then we're going to go ahead and cut two of our outermost runners to get everything kind of boxed in the way that we want it. And then once we kind of have the main structure in place, we'll go ahead and sturdy up these legs with some diagonal bracing. All right, so I got the first two runners cut and set up on here, but I'm running into a little bit of a stumbling block because I'm building this in a little different order than I built the last one. The last one, I built this whole top frame on the ground, so these runners sat flush on top of the beams. Well, because I built the legs first and the beams on top of that, you can see it's giving me a little bit of a gap because this one is obviously lower, and that's on purpose so that this has slope so that the logs will roll down to you where you're cutting. So I have a couple different options here. One is going to be very time consuming and the other one is not going to be quite as time consuming. But you can see if I wanted to do the first option, this is about 1/4 inch that I would have to cut out here in a bird's beak notch. But I would have to do that on every single one, front and back. And there's going to be about 15 of these runners front and back. So that would be 30 cuts on this one, which would not be easy, take a lot of time, and 30 on this one, so that'd be 60. But I just called neighbor Doug and found a much easier workaround. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand planer and I'm going to shave that notch just in this beam here so that this will set directly on top of that flush and not have that gap, because there's very little contact there, and I want to have as much contact as possible. All right, so I got it pretty close with the hand planer. It's a lot better than what it was, but it's still not quite as precise as I like. You can still see it's resting in the center there now, which is better than what it was. It's at the right angle, but I don't like that gap underneath there on both sides. I want that to sit nice and flush on that beam. So it's really hard to just freehand it with a hand planer, so I got the table saw out and we're gonna do it the right way, and this will be much more precise and get us exactly what we want. So you can see right there, I've got the table saw blade tilted out just a bit so it'll catch and just shave that off at the right angle consistently all the way down. We'll give that a shot. All right, so the table saw didn't end up working out quite like I thought I wanted it to, because these 4x4s are extremely difficult to push through a little job site table saw, which is all I have access to here in the shop. So I ended up taking these down to the sawmill and putting a little shim underneath them to get just the right angle. And now when I put these on here, they sit perfectly flush and level on top of those posts. Now, you might say, Adam, what's the big deal? You're not building a piano here, it's just a firewood bucking table. And you would be correct. If I was just building this for myself, I probably wouldn't have even put that bevel on there. I probably would have just left that 1/4 inch gap on both sides, threw a lag screw down through, called it a day. But because I am selling these, I want it to be as perfect as possible. I don't want to have any complaints. I want to have some satisfied customers. So now I've got these rails with the proper angle on them that matches the slope of the rails that are going to go on here, and we're looking good. So now we just got to go ahead and cut 15 more of these for both tables, and we'll be off to the races. All right, so we got the bottoms all stained up here. I want to let those dry before we flip them down and do the top half. While we're waiting for this to dry, let's head up to the shop and clean up a little bit. I got a new tool I want to show you guys that I think might be the best $100 I ever spent. Is going to make cleanup in the shop a breeze. So this is a walk behind floor sweeper from Viver, and I already know what you're thinking. This must be another sponsored product. No, this is not. I actually bought this with my own money. I think I paid 125 bucks for it, but I just looked online on Amazon right now. They're on sale for like 87 bucks or something. This thing would make an incredible Father's Day gift if you or somebody you know spends any amount of time sweeping up their shop with a broom and a dustpan. Both of these things, I'm not going to get rid of them because they are still nice for tight spaces, but man, for the 97% of the open floor space, this thing is incredible. There's no batteries, there's no power. Everything is driven off of the wheels. There's a belt in there that runs the front sweepers, and then there is a sweeper in the back that picks everything up. Now, I have a rough broom finish garage floor, and this picks everything up very cleanly. I'd imagine it would work even better if you had a smooth finish garage floor. But yeah, this thing, the other benefit to it is, you know, with these two here, you've got to sweep everything into a pile, and then you've got to go back with the dustpan and clean it up and discard it. This collects everything while you're sweeping. So gone are the days of dust panning up your pile of stuff. It all gets funneled right into this hopper here, which is a larger hopper than what I have with my old dustpan. Not only does it pick up all of your scraps while you're sweeping, but it also really cuts down on the dust. If you've ever had a push broom like this, you know as you're sweeping, you're just constantly kicking dust up into the air that then makes the rest of your shop tables and all of your horizontal surfaces in the shop get covered in dust. This thing, because it is throwing it into the hopper as you're going, it doesn't give it a chance to get airborne. Yeah, I know it's like the dumbest thing in the world to be this excited about a tool like this, but this is probably my favorite tool in the shop. I like a clean shop floor, and I'm usually out here sweeping it once a week just because of mud on boots, mud on ATV tires, side-by-side tires, tractor tires, gets tracked in here all the time. And I usually spend 20, 30 minutes with a push broom, and now with this, I can come in here and basically mow my garage floor with this and be done in 5 minutes. So anyway, let's head back down to the firewood bucking tables and go stain the top side. All right, so both tables are now all completely stained up. In case you're curious, the product that I use to stain these is called Ready Seal, and the color is Pecan. I will leave a link in the description if you are curious. Again, not a sponsored product, but if you do use the links in the description for either this stain or the Viver floor sweeper, we do earn a little bit of a commission, and it does help to support the channel. But this is the same color that I have used on the roadside firewood stand and the 20x20 lean-to shed that we built in the background there. Absolutely my favorite color of stain to put on rough sawn lumber. Now, the customers are going to be coming here to pick these up in the next couple days, so they'll have plenty of time to dry. And like I mentioned before, if you're have any kind of carpentry skills at all, this is definitely something you can do yourself with store-bought treated lumber, 4x4s, whatever. But if you don't have the time or you don't have the know-how, again, shoot me an email, hometownacres@outlook.com. This is definitely something I can do. We can talk about price. Speaking of price, I am curious to hear from you guys. What do you think each one of these tables is worth? I know what I'm charging for them, but I'm just kind of curious where I am on price, if I'm high or low. Now, to give you an idea, there's about $400 worth of lumber here if you were to go to Home Depot and buy treated 4x4s. I looked up the price of a treated 4x4x12 is like $26. And there's a significant amount of lumber in each one of these tables, and they are built extremely sturdy, all 4x4 construction. So $400 in lumber, there's probably around $100 worth of hardware. Those timber locks that I use to lag each one of these rails into the beam, those are 8-inch timber locks, and for a box of 50 of those, it's I think $55. So they're a little over $1 a piece for each one of those lag screws. And then there's, you know, a handful of regular framing screws in this entire build. And then that Ready Seal product is not a cheap product. It's a good quality product, but you get what you pay for. For a 5-gallon jug of that Ready Seal pecan color, I think was like $188. So I think all in material cost before you count my time is about $550 or $600 worth of material cost. And then I've got about 2 days in each table. So 2 days here, 2 days here, 4 days total for both of these tables. So between the material cost and the labor cost, and then, you know, cost isn't everything, right? It's what is somebody willing to pay for something like this? I don't know. I guess I'm just curious to hear from you guys. What do you think something like this would be worth if you were looking to buy one? But hopefully these will last a good long time for the people that are buying them. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.